I think I'm gonna paint this. So, I took this picture about 2 years ago and we're gonna paint it today. I took it on taking a hike actually, and it was the first time me and Nathaniel, my husband now, first hanged out. So, we're gonna paint it. I'm not painting it for that reason, but I just really like this photo. Another thing I'd like to mention is that this is my second time painting on panel. I don't know if you guys remember, but in the car video where I painted Nathaniel's dad's car, that was the first time I tried painting on a panel and it did not work out, if you've seen that video. But this one is different. I'm gonna give it another chance. This one is a panel, but it has like a box around it. So I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. We're gonna give it a second chance, and we're gonna be using the same paint I used on the last panel, which is Golden, which is my new favorite, by the way. Forget heavy body, forget Academy. It's all about Golden, baby. Golden paints. I really like them ever since I started painting with them. It was so pigmented, but yet so watery, and that's how I kind of like painting now. I like very thin layers, and I like building upon those layers, and I paint more, I feel like, a realistic style. Say hi. So I evaluate my photograph and find out what colors I need. These are all the golden colors I have right now. I barely discovered golden paints, I'm gonna say earlier this year. I painted in Grumbacher, heavy body paint, Artist Loft, basics. I painted in a lot of different paints, but I never invested into golden. So I'm barely building up having these paints. I bought a little cheap little set that cost roughly like $20 or something at Michael's with the 50% coupon, and it came with 8 little paints, and then progressively I'm buying the bigger tubes. Now that we taped all the edges. This was my first time tinting my canvas with burnt sienna. A lot of my favorite painters that I watch here on YouTube, they say that, you know, a lot of different things, but it enhanced the colors. You can see what you're doing a lot better because you're not just staring at a white canvas. A lot of different things, like the red shows through because it's more of a cool painting. So yeah, I just tried it out for the first time with acrylic. I've tried it with oils, but never acrylic, so I thought I'd give it a go. I didn't really see any difference into my painting process other than the sky, since the painting now you can kind of see the undertone, which I like, but besides that, I didn't really find a difference. So this was the exact moment where I realized it was going to be the same exact tragic story, that I hated it. But I just kept moving forward, and I just kept shoving paint on there heavily, and it wasn't as technical as the car painting where my brushstrokes had to be very strategic, but I just kept shoving paint on there because landscapes are more forgiving. But I much prefer canvas because it has a tooth on it, and this just was not what I'm used to. But since it was all I had, or I just adapted, I guess. But my opinion on it, wouldn't want to do it again unless I had to. But in the end result, I liked how it came out. All said and done, I really liked the look of a wooden panel. As a painting teacher,
and doing art as a job, sometimes I don't feel really motivated to paint for myself. I get X, Y, and Z done and I'm exhausted and I don't really feel like painting for myself. But I finally put my foot down and was like, you know what, I'm gonna paint something. So I looked through my old reference photos and found this photo, and I've always wanted to paint it. So I was like, why don't I do this? So I sat down one morning and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna paint before I do anything. I usually get a lot of productive work done for my business in the morning, and it was completely backwards because usually I like to reward myself with painting or with something after I get X, Y, and Z done, but it felt weird to reward myself before I even did anything. I'm glad I got the painting done that morning, but I'm sure it won't become a normal thing.
Nathan wants to say hi.
Hi everybody.
I think this is the third session, so let's just keep going.
So this was my third time painting these mountains, and let me tell you, it doesn't get any easier. If anything, I feel like I push myself every time I paint it again, and I feel like this was the best one out of all of them. I've done a mural, I've done a larger painting, but I think this one came out the best. The hardest part about this painting was those distant mountains. It doesn't matter how many times I paint them, how many videos I watch about them, what color combination should I mix with them. I feel like they're so majestic. Maybe it's because I'm so in awe, and it's one of my favorite things in the whole entire world are distant mountains. Maybe that's why I can't find myself to paint them. It's weird. I really like how all the elements of the painting is really drawing your eye to that farthest distant mountain, and how it has the least amount of detail, but everything around it, strategically thought about, every brush stroke. And then there's that distant mountain that your eye keeps drawing you to. It's very simple and I like it. That's how I kind of feel when I look at nature. I feel like distant mountains just stand out to me. Maybe I'm not so bad at painting distant mountains. Maybe it's because I feel like they're so beautiful I can never do justice.
I'm done with the painting, and now I'm gonna peel the tape off.